Okay, let's get started. Hey guys, you want to come up? Can you hear?
Yeah.
At the back? Okay, great. We all know what today's talk is about. What I wanted to start with is saying that 10 years ago, when we became parents for the first time, we thought that we had a lot to teach our kids. We thought that, we'd love to be good role models for them, etc. In the period that we have been parents, we've actually realized that things are quite the other way around, that our children are actually role models for us. And we now spend practically, all our time that we are focusing on parenting as a way where we are trying to, remind ourselves of how children are really good role models for us. So some of the things, energy levels, their energy levels are, sorry, what's can you read? Can you read, or is it too small? It's okay. Okay. So just when I was thinking about these things, they were the thoughts that came to my mind, that their energy levels are so high, they have a lot more ability. We're always looking at kids saying, oh, we can't do that, we can't do what they can do. They have a lot of tolerance and an ability to let things go, which we struggle with. Creativity, and they often have an inner sense of balance. So they know when they're unwell, they know how to make themselves feel better, and there are a lot of things that we try to mold them into, whereas they intrinsically are often, they just know what they need. And that's where the conflict comes, in them knowing what they need and us trying to guide them into the mode that we want them to fit into. And as we know from many of these higher achieving kids, that there's a lot of drive, there's a lot of motivation that is there in our kids anyways. So we're going to, Sunil's going to take on, and he may want to go to this first.
Okay guys, before I start, I just want, I know most of many of us are grown-ups, and the mothers have come, the fathers have come, many of the fathers have come. And all of you are, main thing, the reason you come here is because for your kids. Yeah? So most of you want to do the things, most of us, even as a parent, we want to do better for our kids than what we did or what we have. Okay? Now what I want you to do is put that thought out of the way for the time being, and I want all of you, the adults especially, think of ourselves as kids. I want you to think of ourselves as kids only, okay? As if you're kids. Okay, so that is the approach I'm going to take for the next 10 minutes. So think like that, and if you have any questions, you can ask like that. Okay, now just tell me, like any one of you kids can tell me, like what is the body made up of? What do you think the body? You don't have to raise your hand. You can just speak up.
Cells, white blood cells.
Okay, cells. We'll agree that most of the So we have millions and millions and trillions of cells. Okay, so then let's say this is a cell. Okay, this ball which has been this is a cell. Okay, so now this cell is a healthy cell. All of us in any state of mind want to be healthy. Yeah, we want to have fun, we want to fool around, but we're in a healthy state. Now this cell is a healthy cell. Now whenever you eat food, we're starting with the nutritional growth. Whenever we eat food, so we are providing what? What kind of food do you eat? Anyway, so it can be vegetables. Do you eat vegetables? Okay, you eat vegetables. Anything else? Fruits. So fruit cells, then the vegetable, and anything else? Anybody else? Do you eat eggs or milk? Yeah? So, okay. Now, whenever all these cells go in, so there's a milk cell or there's a vegetable cell. Now, what happens is, or what does the body consist of? What all is there in the body? Can you tell me what all is there in the body? So, do you have a brain? Yeah, everybody got a brain. So, we got a lung. You know lungs? Yeah. We have a tummy. We have heart. So, there's something called the spleen, there's colon. Now, all of these want this cell. So if you want to grow bigger, so heart cell is needed, right? You need the brain cell to work. So the heart cell or the brain cell wants this cell. Now this cell which is moving around happily, now this cell needs to be attached to let's say it goes to the brain, or it is to the heart, or whatever the cell it needs to go to, okay? It's this vegetable cell, Now what happens is, in the food, or many of us eat the food, yeah, is what? Many of us eat what? What do you like? What do your kids like? Sorry? Junk food, or maybe chocolates, you said. She likes chocolates, or maybe like sweet things. Many of us like sweet things, right? Yeah, sweet. Yeah, it can be any kind of sweet. It can be sugary drinks, yeah, candy, yeah. So all of these things. So now imagine, now all this candy, the sugar thing which are going into the body, yeah. What it does is it attaches to this one. Now the cell needs to take this. Let's say the healthy one. Healthy one is what? The vegetable one, or maybe the milk cell. It wants to. What happens is this, the sugar one comes in, and the sugar one needs to understand something. Okay, the sugar cell which is there. I'm talking about if you're having the sugar or the sweet thing which is made from nature or the ground. Do you know what is which is a sugary thing on the trees? Which is sweet thing on the trees? What kind of fruits? Fruit are healthy. And which other thing is there? Yeah, fruits are there which are sweet, right? Okay. Let's say we're not counting those. No, those ones are the good ones. They are the good sugar cells. Okay. The bad ones, which is what we said, the candy and all those things, what they do is when they go into the body, they need to be thrown out. They need to be what? Thrown out, because the bad one stops the good one from working. You get it? Okay, so all that has to do is what? There's something called pancreas. Now the pancreas has to work hard to throw this thing out. You get it? The pancreas has to work hard to throw this sugar cell out. Now when there are too much of it, the pancreas needs to work really hard and it gets tired. So what happens when you get tired? You can't do anything anymore, right? So when you put too much of those things over a period of time, then the pancreas will not work very well, and that is what leads to the diabetes in the kids. Okay, do you know how much of these things is allowed? Do you know how much of this, let's not count the good sweet cells, yeah? Do you understand what I mean by that? So anything which grows on the tree, all of the sweet things, we are not counting those. So anything which comes in a box or a bottle, yeah, those kind of sugary things, understand this thing, this is not a recommendation. Do you understand what is a recommendation? So I don't mean that you have to have it, I mean this is the maximum one is allowed, yeah, which is 16 grams. 16 grams of the bad one is allowed in a day maximum. Okay, so that is what is allowed. So let's say for example when in the morning you get up, say you have cornflakes or maybe frosties, yeah, or through the day at the school you had some chocolate, or maybe when you go for a football match or any match and then you know someone is giving you a Powerade or a Gatorade. Do you know how much is there? Sugar is there in Gatorade? It's 42 grams, nearly 42 grams. Yeah, and then you are before that you have had frosties, which is of approximately 12. Yeah. So and then through the day, if you count through the day, you have much more. Yeah. Okay. By the way, for adults it is 32. Okay, 32 is the maximum which is allowed for the adults. Now, imagine if the kids are supposed to have 16 and we are having more. What happens is leads to more and more strain on the pancreas, and that is what leads to the problem later on. Now, apart from that, what is the other thing which you like? In the junk food, you said many of you like junk food, right? So in the junk food which is there, what kind of, you know the fat, you know what is the fat? Anybody knows what is the fat? You know what is fat? Nobody knows what is fat? Fat? Anybody knows fat? Sorry? Very fat what? Fat makes you fat. Is fat good for you or bad for you? It's a nutrient. There is good fat and bad fat. Do you know what is a good fat? So that is sweet. So the good fat is also which comes from the ground, yeah, which from the ground and from the trees. The avocados are good fat, and the nuts, you know, nuts and seeds, they're also fat. So those are all good fats. So nuts and seeds, avocados, and all those things, whichever comes from the ground and on the trees, is again a good fat. Now, it can come from the milk also, and also from the meat products or the eggs. These are all the good fats. The ones which comes from the box again, yeah, box, they are the bad fat. They are the hydrogenated fat. Now the thing with the fat is, what is the cell made of? This is, I said, this is a good cell, right? Yeah, what is the cell made of? Do you know the lining of the cell? So inside the cell there are many ingredients, many of the things are there which are good for the body. Yeah. So now what is the cell made of? The lining. The lining. The lining is made up of fat. So the fat is necessary for you to eat so that you can make the cell also. Now the cells which are made up of fat, there are two linings which are made up of fat, and this good fat is what makes it. Now the thing about the good fat and the bad fat is the good fat, which is there in the body, which is moving on merrily and trying to do its work. Yeah. The thing is, the bad fat, when you have it in the body, when you eat this bad fat, which is usually in the junk food and in the box kind of thing, anything food coming out of the box. So what it does is it attaches itself to the good fat. The bad fat is attaching itself to the good fat. So as soon as it attaches, this cannot do its work. So it wants to go somewhere, and it needs to be going wherever in the body. And at the same time, the sugar is also attached, yeah, which is not able, like it has to be thrown out of the body. So what happens? This cell cannot do its work to the best of its ability. Do you understand? The cell which needs to do its job is not able to do its job. So sugar and the bad fat is something which we have to avoid, whereas the good fat needs to be taken so that we can make the cells for the body's growth. Now, so we spoke about the sugar. Now sugar, when I said this is the maximum in a day. So we have to make sure that it is lesser than that. Okay. So now, all you kids, even the adults who are kids, now do you understand when, as a kid, like when we did those things, humans by nature prefer like eating sugary things. Yeah, sugary things which are actually not good for you. Sugary products and things. Now, what has happened is, because of that, over a period of time, we get the necessary ailments. Now, the other thing which is very important for the body is what? Does anyone know about protein? Yeah? Do you know what is a protein? Do you know what is protein? Anybody? Right? Yeah? Yes, sir. Yes? Yes. Okay. Now, do you know this? Like, for example, what is this? Hair, and this? Nail. Yeah? This is skin. Okay. So whatever you can touch, which is living, is protein. So anything in the body, everything in the body is made up of what? Protein. So different kind of protein, but everything in the body is necessary. And protein means protos. Protos means of highest value, the most important thing. Yeah, protein means, in Greek, it means the most important thing. Now, protein is necessary for what? For recovery, development and growth. So if you are growing, yeah, if you need to grow, the skeletal mass needs to, skeleton means the bone needs to grow, or anything else needs to grow, everything else needs different kind of proteins. The proteins are necessary. Okay, different proteins are necessary so that those things can be done. So for the kids, yeah, and for teenagers, the recommendation is approximately 1.5 to 2 times your body weight. So let us say your body weight is, say, 30, for example, I'm just saying. Okay, 30, and you're a growing kid and an active kid. So what would it be? 60 grams per day. Yeah, so that would be 45 to 60 grams per day would be the necessary for a 30 kilo kid. Now, what happens to most of the kids is they are eating the food, they are also having a lot of sugar. Now, many of you kids, when you have sugar, what happens is you either get very, very excited and you get into an argument, or you feel very, very lethargic if you have sugar, yeah? You're lethargic, or you're not able to concentrate. So those are the 3 things which are not good for you. Now with protein, what happens is, all these things, what happens is the growth happens, yeah? If you're doing the right kind of exercise. Now in protein, many of the girls who are at the stage of growth, especially between the age of 10 to 12, girls grow much more, before boys, so till the age of around 13, they grow faster. The growth is faster till the age of 13, and then it slows down slightly. Yeah, and the boys take off. Now, what also happens is, because of today's society now, the girls at the age of 13 and on, they also get into the habit of not eating because of they want to be skinny, so they don't eat enough or the good kind of food. They just stick to drinking a lot of drinking, which means like drinking a lot of water or empty calories like diet colas. Yeah, so those kind of things they tend to do to reduce the caloric intake, which is not good for them, which is also a sign of which leads to anorexia. Yeah, there's another thing called which we have seen in the last few years, whereby the boys coming in, which are teenagers, who just want to be bigger. They just want to be more and more muscular by taking supplements and everything else. Yeah, supplement is to be avoided for as long as possible, as long as you are having healthy nutrition. Yeah, the supplement is also okay for kids as long as the amount of strain on the body, or they are playing sport at a very high level. Okay, so if you're playing sport at a high level, then the supplement is okay, especially only the base supplementation, I'm saying. Now the girls during the teenage phase, and when the girls and the boys, when they are going to the teenage phase, and when they start avoiding a food group, you understand? A food group means either the grains or the fat or the fruit. When you start avoiding a food group altogether, what it leads to? It leads to mineral and vitamin deficiency. So when it leads to mineral and vitamin deficiency, it leads to a problem. Eventually, it leads to a problem. Yeah. So that vitamin and mineral is, and also during this phase, which is a growth phase, is also the cause which where the girls, even though they are like maybe thin or maybe bigger, they start then when there's vitamin and mineral deficiency, it leads to PCOD or PCOS. Yeah. So which then is non-curable. It stays for the rest of the life. Any adolescent kid, which means teenage kid. As a teenager, if you are overweight or obese, then there is 70% likelihood that you will be obese in adult. When you are an adult, you will be an obese adult. So it's a 70% likelihood. So it's very important as children, and especially during the teenage time, that we are in a healthy state. Okay, the healthy state is whereby you are eating everything and putting in the right kind of. That's it. Now the thing is, I just want to put this up for some of you over here. So, which I showed most of the time. So the growth happens most. The maximum amount of growth happens between the early 20s. When you are between 10 to 20 years of age, the maximum of growth. When we say growth, don't think of growth as height. Okay? Think of growth as everything. The height, muscle mass, bone mass, everything. So all of these things happen most during the 10 to 20 years of age. Now, what happens is also during this time, there is a huge amount of stress and strain on the kids for the studies also. So which leads to now the growth is genetics, yeah, plus nutrition, plus exercise, minus stress. So if you are heavily stressed, then it is a negative. But apart from that, genetics, nutrition, and exercise is what leads to the best of your ability in terms of growth. So stress is a negative over here. Now what happens is between the age of 10 to 20, where there is the maximum peak which is going to happen, yeah, there is a lot of stress, yeah, which is what we have to try to make sure it is as less as possible. Now after early 20s, this is going downhill. Yeah. So no early 20s. Early 20s means 22 to 23, 22 to 25. Yeah. So after that is downhill. No matter what you do. So no matter what you do means no matter as much exercise you do or whatever you do, it is going to be downhill. Now, this is where I'm giving this example. I mean, as a sportsman, yeah, because most of us don't reach this potential at all. Yeah, most of us don't reach this potential, which is the God-given potential. Yeah, so we don't reach this thing. So many of us are here, and that's why whenever later on we exercise in life, and we feel as if we are better than what we were in our 20s. But in the 20s, we could have been much better. So I understand around 22 to 23 years of age, 23 years of age is the maximum physical potential which you can have. So all of you guys who have kids, or who even if you are 17 or 18, understand for the next 4 or 5 years, if you do the right things in terms of nutrition, exercise, so you will hit your potential. Okay. Now, all of you guys, all of you parents who have kids, now what I want you to do is, I want you to just close your eyes for 2 seconds. I know many of you have kids right next to you also. Just close your eyes for 2 seconds, and we want you to imagine what you think your kid will look like. Just for 2 seconds. Just close your eyes, and what you like, if you have 2 children, just think of what they will look like when they are fully grown as an adult. Say they're around say 22 or 23 years of age. And now slowly open your eyes. Okay. Now the thing is, when we imagine our kids, yeah, so we imagine usually in our own sense, how we are or what we were. So that's what. Now what you have to understand is, like, if you don't do the right things, especially during the teenage phase and all these things, yeah, and if you are also overweight and other things, those things will affect them at that time. So they will tend to look the way you are at present. Okay, so you have to make sure, yeah, that you do the right thing by yourself, so that you put in the right example. Okay. Now, so what in terms of, like, we've already had. Does anyone have any questions regarding nutrition? Nutrition, we are clear, right? So the nutrition, we are clear. So understand, and for the girls who are growing and who are teenagers also, there is a lot of, because when you have hit puberty, there is you need, what we've seen is the girls suffer from hemoglobin losses. Yeah, also because of puberty and menstrual periods and all those things. So, and at the same time, because the girls tend to avoid food, yeah, it leads to worsening of this hemoglobin thing. Okay, hemoglobin and iron deficiency is one of the big cause of this problem. Okay. Now let's talk about the exercise part. Okay, what is the kind of exercise which is ideal for kids going ahead? Okay, so like anything, even for adults, whenever you're doing any movement, let us say a footballing movement. If you say football, or if you want to say martial arts, which is boxing or kickboxing or whatever it is. Yeah. If you're doing boxing, boxing is with the hand. Yeah, with the hand. But the thing, what you don't notice is the power is actually generated from the leg and the trunk. So it is generated from here. This is the extension. This is the finishing. Yeah, this is not the hand. It is the full body. If there are not strong legs or torso, the strength will be very low. Similarly, if you're doing say football or kicking, yeah, apart from the skill, it is the transferring of the power which is coming from the upper body going into the feet. So the whole body works together. If you're playing a sport or anything else you're doing. So the transferring of the power goes through the trunk region, okay, which is the midsection. So midsection, which is this part, is the one which we have to concentrate on first. So the first about 6 to 8 weeks, one has to concentrate on the midsection the most. So things like medicine ball is one of those balls. Yeah, throwing up those balls. We have to do the floor exercises, mountain climbers and all those things, so that you get the midsection up and running and strong very well. And after which we can think about the extremities. Extremities are the limbs. Limbs are the hands and the legs. So the hands and the legs are the next thing which we have to think about. So now let us talk about what is the step-by-step approach for this exercise part. Okay. So we always say about this pyramid. So we spoke about nutrition. Yeah. Okay. We spoke about nutrition. So we say that we are having good food, proper food, which is protein, fat, and the carbohydrates, the good one. And thereafter we said what we said was we already agreed that we're going to have a good trunk region. Then the thing we are concentrating on is the metabolic conditioning. Metabolic conditioning means to do with the cardiovascular conditioning. Cardiovascular conditioning, which means like if you want your child to play a sport or whatever sport you may choose, there is when we think so when we tell our kids, okay, I'm select, for example, you're running for 20 minutes or half an hour, running on the road or on the treadmill or whatever you're doing, and you say, okay, that is what you need to do. That is not the right approach, or that's not the what is needed for them. All sport is start-stop. It may be going on for half an hour, 1 hour, or 1.5 hours, like even football. Football is sprinting, stopping, jumping, falling. Basketball is sprinting, jumping, stopping, and then coming back. So everything is start and stop, but with extreme bursts of energy. So if you're just running around for 2 kilometers, it is not going to help you in that particular sport. Okay? So metabolic conditioning, usually the cardiovascular conditioning has to be done, which is a start-stop with an extreme burst of energy. Okay, so that is how. After that, we have to do is the agility and balance. And agility and balance is also what we like. For agility and balance, the best thing to do for the kids is football and basketball. So those things require a lot of agility and balance for the kids. In terms of training, there are a variety of things which we do here, from park jumps to lunge jumps and jumping over. What is the biggest fear which we have as grown-ups? Now, I'm not talking about kids, as a personal, physical. Is the fact that you will fall. You know, the fear that you will fall and you get hurt. So that's why you try to not fall, right? You try not to fall. Whereas if you see any sport is on falling. But if it's tackling in football or if it's in basketball, they're always falling, they're pushing and shoving and falling, somebody's falling. Yeah? So, but they know how to fall. Even if it's to boxing or martial arts, everybody knows how to fall. So those learning how to fall is important. Okay, so that you're not afraid of it, because those things will happen. So as you get older, and if you don't know how to fall, and if you fall, what happens is straight away fractures. Okay, so agility and balance, which we lose as we get older, which we need to learn to do very well as kids, so that when we get older we don't lose it. So agility and balance is necessary. Thereafter comes the throws. Throws are what we do with medicine ball, another thing which is extreme burst of strength. And there comes the weight training. When we say weight training, don't think of weight training as in lifting weights. It's not just lifting weights. Lifting weights is not the only thing which is necessary, okay? So when you are doing say chin-up or a push-up, that is many times much harder than lifting weights, because the amount of weight which is going against the gravity, so you're doing it against the gravity, is much higher. Yeah, much higher in the body weight training also. So those kind of weight training has to be done, and then the play or the sport is there. So and even at the center we do a lot of dodgeball, throwball, and UNI programs whereby there is a lot of play and things are involved. Now this is the way for the kids' excellence, physical excellence. Okay, so keeping the nutrition right, which is the base of it, and everything else. And like I said, if this is not there, let us just say there is no cardiovascular conditioning. If you're not And even if you have the skill in football or whatever it is, you're not going to last. You may last about maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and thereafter, nothing. Because you do not have this. Similarly, if one of the things are missing, the other thing will be affected heavily. Now, we also want to talk about the weight training aspect. Okay, so one of the biggest challenges which we face over here, we've been in Australia now overseas for about 12 years. Okay, and we used to train kids from the age of 3.5 over there, and we've never faced any question over there when we did weight training or whatever. You know, in terms of what will happen, nothing. You know, there was no questions asked. Okay, lifting weights or whatever the 2 kilo or 3 kilo whatever the exercise, no questions were ever asked. But in India, whenever there's a weight training thing, the first thing which all the parents ask is, what will happen to the height? You know, as if the weight is going to affect their height. But if you see that, okay, we have mythology, you know, we have a lot of mythological creatures, right? What we have, like we read about in the Mahabharata, we read about what? Pandavas. Yeah? You know Bhim? You know Bhim? I mean, all the kids know Bhim? Oh, they don't know, they know Chota Bhim. Yeah? Yeah, but from Greek warriors, which is my girl, to who's carrying a calf on his back, growing up, to Pandavas, yeah, or to everybody, all the, even when you see the movies, let's say Bahubali movie, if anybody's seen it, you know, they always show that at a young age, the kid is doing warrior sport. So you may call it a gym, you know, but most of the thing which are happening in the gym was for the warriors. So the warriors were the ones who used to be involved in the physicality so that they can be strong to defend. Yeah. So that is where the exercise thing came from. So the warriors were from a childhood state. So you would be practicing from a very young level, even the Pandavas and all, you will be practicing for a very young level to excel when you get older. Yeah. So by the time you're older, that will happen. Now imagine, now if they had not done it, you would not be. It will take much longer. You need practice. So let us let's say a kid who is exercising for some time, let's say for 3 or 4 years, and an adult. So most of us, when you come in over here, what do we talk about? We talk about the fact that, okay, I'm 22 years old, I can exercise, yeah, and this is 10-year-old boy, and he should not be. Whereas he may be far ahead of you because he's been exercising for the last 2 or 3 years. So don't go on the physiological age of the child or the person, but according to the chronological age, but according to what physiologically the kid has been doing. So if the kid has been exercising for the X number of times over the years, he would actually be ahead of even the adult. Yeah. So even for the adults, you need those things: the motor skills, the balance, posture, flexibility, strength, and the psychological state. When you start at a younger age, all of these things you are ahead of it. You are ahead. So if you have been doing for X number of years, compared to an adult, you are already ahead.
Can I just ask a question? Yeah. You mentioned medicine ball and plyometrics for personal exercise.
Yeah.
What about TheraBands? Is that also controlled?
No. TheraBand is resistance. Yeah, TheraBand means therapeutic bands. Yeah, it started from the physiotherapy, and it's coming to this thing. TheraBands, which are those kind of movements.
Would that be better than or the same amount as would that have the same result or outcome?
No, I'm not. It's a good question. Everybody knows what's a TheraBand. So resistance tube or TheraBand, it's like a band which is it's like a rubber big thing which has got resistance. So when we say weight training, no, weight training means resistance training. So any kind of resistance is resistance. So whatever it may be, if the TheraBand is really hard, it is more resistance. If it is less resistance.
Yeah, well actually what happens is there are certain sports which are involve a lot of jerk movements and a lot of quick movements.
Yes.
And for which you need a lot of muscle elasticity, not static flexibility. Yeah. Where you can get into any kind of position and hold for 30 seconds, but we need to get into an awkward position for 1 second, it could be
Yes.
squash or tennis. where you play.
Those kind of movements.
Yeah, that kind of quick movement or
Yes.
swimming where you're going very quickly. So I find that TheraBand mimics muscle elasticity as opposed to static flexibility or weights where you can move a lot of weight very slowly over a long period of
Yes.
time.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering what are your thoughts on
Yeah, no, that's
TheraBand
good.
for children?
Yeah, that's a good question. What he's trying to say is, with the TheraBands, you can actually mimic the movements of that particular sport. If it is to do with, say, tennis, which is to do with the serve, yeah, there is no use of doing the bicep curl, heavy bicep curl to increase the size of the biceps instead of doing this kind of movement, which is to do with the TheraBand. So TheraBand can do this thing, whereas the weight will not be able to do the similar kind of movement. And TheraBand helps in all those the different kind of movements, and TheraBand resistance tubes, all of them can mimic those kind of movements. But in anything you do, you have to be an athlete first. So first is an athlete, and then is the sport. So to become an athlete, you need that base. So that is why the sport is high up. So this is the sport. Okay, if you don't have this thing, you will not be excelling over there. So that is the base we are talking about. When we talk about weight training, don't think of it as if it is very heavy. No, it is not heavy and it is not slow. Any kind of movement which is slow is not natural. Yeah, because in any sport, the movement is not slow. You don't push slowly in football. You don't push in basketball. Everything is fast movement. Even tennis, everything is fast movement. So the same thing is there. But the only difference is when you're doing resistance training, according to the amount of resistance, it will look slow. Yeah. So even with the TheraBand, if there is more resistance, it may look slow, but it will come eventually. It will come faster.
I mean, a very fast movement with TheraBand, because what happens is that weights or certain sports need you extremely stiff. Most
Yeah.
sport if you don't stretch. But that kind of TheraBand, I mean, it's given for people who just injure themselves,
Yeah.
and it restores that muscle elasticity.
Yes. Yeah. So it does that thing. The TheraBand will help in the small muscle things also. But eventually you have to do it from the base, which is this one also. Everything has to be involved together, not just one thing. So we have sportsmen over here also. So we do involve those things apart from these things. But that is at a higher level. We usually do the racket sports, or if we are doing racket sports at a higher level. We do use those things. That was right. Okay, so we were talking about the physiological age and the chronological age. So those are the things the kids will excel at. So the younger you start, the better it is for the kids. You can't see this thing, but what it says over here is boys and girls grow kind of equally till the age of 12. Yeah, boys and girls. Even with training, they will get the similar kind of result with training. Between the age of 13 to 17 for boys and 12 to 16 for girls, yeah, the muscle strength of the boys increases tremendously. Muscle strength. That's purely because of testosterone. Yeah, and for the girls it will also increase, but it will be at a slower pace. Yeah, so boys usually have a little bit more gains when you're doing the weight training kind of, with the training kind of movement. Between the ages of 16 to 20 for the boys and 14 to 17 for the girls. Yeah, this is you reach your peak height growth. Yeah, that is the maximum height growth which you will have. The girl is slightly on the slow pace, with the strength training, both of them will have similar gains at that period, that age period. So if you see between the age of 13 to 17, the girls slight in terms of muscular growth and the height growth is slightly lesser. But before that, the girls have already grown a lot, much. They reach their potential of the height 2 years before boys. And after between the age of 18 to 25 and 18 to 20 for the girls, you usually have reached your maximum physical fitness potential. So that is what normally happens to. Then thereafter, like I said, it is going downhill. The weight training usually never ever does stunt anything. Okay, the maximum the research has shown that the maximum amount of stress which is being put on the body is through gymnastic kind of movement. So gymnastics puts more strain and stress on the body, yeah, and also leads to higher injuries compared to anything else. The second most is football. Football in terms of soccer, yeah. Soccer has the second most highest incidence of injuries. Now injuries is a stressful thing, yeah. And when we are talking about growth, we are talking about the growth plates of the bones, yeah. Okay. So do you have any questions regarding this thing, the growth or anything on the front? Anybody? Yeah. So the weight training never affects the growth potential of the child. In fact, when you do weight training, when we are talking about the body weight training and all this training, actually the bone mass of the individual increases. The bone mass means the whole skeletal mass, lengthwise and breadthwise. Everything actually increases through the training processes. Yeah? And the training has to be the efficiency of the training is usually dependent on the quality of the instructor. As long as the quality of the instructor is good, there will not be any issue. In fact, it will lead to better growth potential of the child only. Now, what we do is, normally what you have to do is, when you start off with the training of the child, you should always do only once a week to start with, yeah, till the age of about 6 or 7. Thereafter, it has to be around twice a week. Now, when we say training, it does not mean it is that you should not play this sport. We say that you play this sport, apart from the sport, you do this thing, because the training complements the sport. So, but what is happening is many of the people who are also coming in over here is the fact that they want to replace it. Replace all, and many of the kids just don't play anything. So that's why they're coming in here, and they are, because they have the postural issue or maybe obesity, which is what they come with. Yeah. Some of the kids who may not grow at all, or they have grown too much, that is purely got to do with some medical issue. So the training never affects your potential of height or anything, growth, and usually the medical problem which may affect these the height. Okay.
One question, so they did a lot. Parents, they say like not to give squats or bicep curl to the kids. They have an understanding that if they do weight training, the growth is not going to happen. They will not, the bone will not grow, which will affect their height. Is it right?
No, that is what I said earlier. The growth plate, which is there on the distal, I mean both the ends of the bone, yeah, which will happen, can only be affected by huge amount of stress. Now the huge amount of stress, by that I mean that huge amount of stress is lifting very, very, very heavy and totally wrong. Now when we say heavy, it means, like even we are I've been training for nearly 25 years now. Even I don't do it. I do it maybe once or twice a year, and that is after doing a lot of training for X number of years. So it is not possible for me also to do it on a regular basis. Only elite athletes who have been doing for a very, very long time, they do it more often. The kids cannot do it. It is not possible, yeah, for the kids to be able to do those things. Yeah, and the squat is a basic movement of any sport. Any sport, for example, you're saying, starts from the hip. So if it's to do with tennis, because everything starts from here, the power is generated from here. So that is actually necessary or important, so that you can generate that power. Yeah, the power from here. Okay, what we're trying to say over here is, like, most of the kids, they just need a helping hand so that they can reach their potential in terms of both the general potential through proper nutrition and exercise. Yeah. So if you have any questions regarding the nutrition or fitness, feel free to ask right now. So what are you going to do as kids? What have the kids learned today in terms of sugar or sweet things? Sorry, what?
Not to consume too much.
Yeah.
Sugar attacks us the cells
From working properly. The good cell cannot do its job well. Yes? The maximum amount of sugar, maximum amount is allowed is what? 16 grams. 16 grams is how much?
A lot, I guess.
No, it's not a lot. It's actually quite little.
Tell me something for like this high intense sport training, you require certain carbohydrates in your diet. Carbohydrates are broken into sugars. So how much would, like, say, a bowl of rice or bowl of pasta, how much sugar would that? These 2 teaspoons, 10 grams, would that be optimum carbohydrate intake?
See, usually the carbohydrate intake, the one we need, I'm saying healthy one. I'm not talking about the sportsman. Normally, in a diet, if you're saying this is my plate, 40% of it needs to be carbohydrate. The carbohydrate, I mean, but not the sugar.
What would you say which would be the good carbohydrates?
Anything, like I said, which can decompose or get spoiled fast. So rice, if you leave it, it gets spoiled tomorrow. So if you make it tomorrow, it's spoiled. Now I'm talking about rice, yeah. And otherwise, say vegetables are also carbohydrate. All the vegetables, all the fruits are carbohydrate. So all of them are carbohydrate. So all of them get spoiled. So anything which decomposes, or even meat or eggs gets spoiled. Yeah, milk gets spoiled next day. So all of them which decompose very fast are actually good for you. So those things which have a good shelf life are not good for you.
And things like pasta, obviously not.
Yeah, so it is already processed. So anything which is processed and it says, okay, you can use it, date is like about 2 months later or 1 year later, that means it's not good for you. Anything like a biscuit, so a biscuit is not ideal for you because it's got a shelf life. So shelf life is not.
But what about if you're having a salad, then you can keep it not good.
Tomorrow, but it will get spoiled. Right?
Spoiled.
Tomorrow it will get spoiled. Whereas a biscuit packet will not get spoiled for 2 years.
Yes. Anything which loses its nutritional value.
How
is not,
different would rice and pasta be? Because rice which is cooked
yes.
gets spoiled, but uncooked rice.
No, I didn't mean like
So,
that. I didn't mean the
so
grain.
if pasta, I'm looking from a perspective that every child's comfort food today is pasta and a go-to is the pizza. So you can't really take it out from this.
No, what I'm saying is as soon as you change the state of the grain,
Correct.
you're losing something.
Correct.
So when you lose something, then you're losing it. So the rice, the red rice or the brown rice is much more nutritious compared to the white rice. Now this white rice is now again
Getting further processed to make a pasta.
To make a, it's usually the wheat. So higher and more processed. So that is not ideal.
Oh.
So when you start processing more and more, any kind of process, meat is good for you, but processed meat is not good for you. Yeah. So same thing. So those kind of things are not ideal. For the I forgot one thing. People who are vegetarian, yeah, they actually the girls or boys also they have hemoglobin issues, because they're not having enough red meat. If you're not eating red meat, so there's iron deficiency, and they need to actually do supplementation of the multivitamin and mineral. Yeah, or maybe and also whey probably. Growing.
Beetroot good supplement for
Sorry?
for vegetarians. Is beetroot good for
Beetroot.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a vegetable. Any vegetable is good.
For as you said, because we don't eat meat, less less hemoglobin. So is beetroot good supplement for that? Yeah.
No, I'm not. Supplement means. No, I don't mean. Supplement means the nutrition has to be proper, and then you try to supplement. That is what a supplement. The meaning of supplement is, because you're not getting enough from the food.
Not supplement. I meant replacement.
Natural one is good.
Yeah.
Even the whey or the protein is not needed, and you can consume more of the other things. The natural ones.
In terms of sugar, like processed sugar, like my son, I feel he's addicted to sugar. Like every now and then he would say.
But sugar is addictive.
Yeah, so it is. So is it like a trigger for like? Is it indicative of some kind of deficiency, or is it just addictive? Because he's having more sugar, his body wants more. Right?
The sugar is addictive. It is a drug. It should be classified ideally. I don't know if you know, in Mexico they have started put a tax on it on the sugary drinks. In India also they were trying to put it. I don't know if you read it. They were on Coca-Cola drinks and all. So they put a luxury tax on the drinks, which is not, again,
So how can that be replaced? If you want to cut down that, I mean,
you have to cut down. So what happens is, if you're addicted to something, what are the things what would happen if you take it away from the person?
No, the thing is that he's not having that much, but his body, you know, he gets that thing that I need to have some sugar. You know, he just gets those bursts of.
Yeah. So give the fruit.
Right.
And also give fat, good delicious fats.